When the leaves fall off the trees and the weather gets cold, you might stay inside more, but our parks employees are out and about working hard. Park It Here. In this episode, we'll take a behind-the-scenes look with the people that ensure your parks stay looking great all year round. Hey Jason.
Hey Katie.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine, how are you?
I'm good. It's a little cold and rainy out here. Sometimes I forget when I'm in my cozy office at Joe Creason Park. You guys are still out here working even when it's like 30 degrees outside.
Yes, there's plenty to do, especially when the parks aren't crowded. It gives us an opportunity to work on our restrooms and get them prepared for the spring.
A lot of people might not realize that even if there's not as many people in the parks in the wintertime because of the weather, you guys are still out here.
Yes, we have plenty to do, things that we can't get to in the summer because we're too busy mowing, picking up trash, cleaning restrooms. I'm out there each day trying to take a look at what needs to be done, what needs to be improved, as well as make sure our team is doing well with what they need to on staying safe, basically. But my day consists of having logs prepared, jobs prepared for each crew, making sure that we have a productive 3 to 5 minute discussion. I don't want to call it a meeting because everybody's involved.
Yeah.
And it's nice at Southeast Maintenance because we have a good group of veteran employees, some employees that have been here for 20 plus years, 10 plus years, and then a couple that are in their first year. So each district, they have their group of parks. We have 26 at Southeast.
Oh, wow.
That we maintain. Anything that you see out here that we can improve or fix, we do. If it's something electrical or plumbing, we reach out to Central Services to help us out. You know, we even take care of some of the trees that come down, some of the sawing. If that gets a little too busy for us or big for us, we'll reach out to the Forestry Department.
A pretty big team that gets a lot accomplished behind the scenes.
We do. There's plenty to do, especially when the parks are crowded, and that's what we want. We want people to use them, and we'll do our best to maintain them and keep them safe and in good shape for the families to use.
I heard you guys were doing some work to the restrooms. Would you care if we took a look inside?
Sure, let's go.
Alrighty.
So as you can tell, based on the before pictures of this bathroom, we were able to get a couple of coats of paint on the walls and on the floor, and thankfully the temperatures held out on us, so we were able to get that going. But we still have plenty of work to do in here. As you can tell, upgrading some of the accessories, that most of them will be vandal proof, which would be nice. That way we're not buying more and more of the same things.
So I guess, is that a thing about working in the winter time, is sometimes you have to wait for the right weather to complete projects?
Yes, and it deals with staffing and equipment also. So our summer months, our main focus is mowing, trimming, blowing, everything in our parks. And then we have 3 separate trash routes along with our separate restroom route. So that's our main focus during the summer months. We have a couple supervisors and myself that are able to take care of other big projects rather than waiting for the winter, because they would need to be done ASAP rather than waiting for the winter months.
Yes, and I know you guys work hard all year round, and I know the public's going to be so appreciative of having these nice bathrooms whenever the spring and summertime comes around.
I hope so. I have 3 young kids myself, and they spend a lot of time in the parks with different sports they're playing, and it's clutch to have a restroom available, especially if it's freshly painted and people have done some improvement on it.
Yeah, so you said all the bathrooms in our parks are kind of getting the same makeover?
They are. Some of the other bathrooms that we have issues with vandalism, we'll get some upgrades with some of the accessories. That way we don't have to replace some of those accessories as often.
Well, you mentioned having kids yourself that might use these bathrooms. Does that kind of make the job all the more rewarding, knowing that the public really gets to utilize the things that you guys work on?
Absolutely. We're at the ballpark, soccer fields, and young kids, they always have to use the bathroom, so it's nice to be able to get them in there and not worry about certain things that might be dangerous or something that they don't need to see.
So what are you working on today? You might not be able to see it on camera, but I see you have some paint out.
Yeah, so I'm just, like I said earlier, trying to figure out if this paint is going to attach to the concrete filler that we put in, and that way either we can continue doing that and getting a head start on finishing these restrooms, or we may have to wait for a little bit warmer weather. Since you're here, do you want to help me out finish this last piece?
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Sounds good, thank you.
I didn't realize I'd be getting my hands kind of dirty today.
Just a little bit. The floor's a little cleaner than they used to be.
Yeah, it looks like it's most of the way done here.
We're getting there, a little bit at a time, just waiting for the temperatures to warm up so we can finish up this type of work and get ready for the accessories.
So you said it took some work before you got to the point where you could even paint the floors. So there's more than just what you see on top here.
Right, if you look around the other edges, we had to put backer rod in the crack because it was really deep, and then we filled it with some concrete filler. A little too cold to do that today like I had planned, so we're just testing out the paint on what we've already sealed up.
Do you guys use any kind of special paint when you do projects like this?
Well, for the floors here, we decided to add some sand to it. We can hopefully keep kids from slipping when they're not walking like they should be.
Yeah, I can already tell it's kind of grippy, so that's probably a good thing. Might prevent some accidents.
It might be a little bit tougher to sweep out, but it's worth it and making sure nobody gets injured.
So I noticed some guys out there working on a fence. Would you care if we checked out what they were working on?
Not at all, let's do it.
Alrighty. So what do we got going on over here?
Well, as you could tell, this fence needs some loving. We're not able to paint today, but at least we can get a head start and repair some of these boards. That way, it continues to look welcoming for the community. We have brand new signs out here on both ends of the park doing these repairs on the fence.
I noticed that a lot of the parks have new signs.
Yes, it definitely labels them a lot better, more welcoming along with how this fence looks. And some of our parks have the fences, some don't, but this one, it makes sense. It makes it look a lot better when families come in here to use it.
So you think a past storm got to this fence?
I believe so. As busy as we are, it's hard to get to, so we're trying to take advantage of the rougher weather so we can get things done like this.
First things first, we got to remove this board.
Yes, I know you're familiar with this tool, sitting behind your desk all day. Go for it.
Yes. Okay, you might have to show me how.
Yep, just wedge it in there and then we'll go ahead and lift up and it should pop right off. And then the same thing on the bottom board.
Down here?
Yep.
Alrighty.
There we go, easy. And that way we have space for our supervisors, Patton, Scott, and Hunter Gillis to come in and add another board for it. Good, perfect. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, this fence is looking better already, and thank you guys for letting me hang out with you a little bit.
Appreciate the help. We've got plenty of projects if you want to come back and help us out again.
I'll think about it. No. And thank you, Jason, for telling me more about what you guys do kind of in the off season, because I know it's a lot of hard work and it makes a big difference.
Absolutely, appreciate you coming. Central Services is pretty busy this time of year if you want to go check them out.
Oh yeah? What do they do over there? Work on mowers, things like that?
Yep, they're helping us maintain our mowers to have them ready for the season, as well as trailers and other pieces of equipment that we need during our busy season during the summer.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'd love to go talk to them too, so thanks for the heads up.
You're welcome.
Hey Paul, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Katie. How are you?
Good, it's good to see you here.
Yeah, welcome here to Park Central Services, where all the action happens.
So what do you do here for Louisville Parks and Recreation?
I'm the assistant director, and part of what we do here at Central Services is we run our plumbing skilled trades, our carpenters, our electricians, and we basically do the behind the scenes stuff that make parks more accessible and more fun for our patrons.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of talented folks here that are good at fixing things, I hear.
Yes.
Yes. Would you care if I took a peek inside the garage?
Great.
Alrighty.
Well, actually, I was thinking about it. Tom's got a lot of stuff going on today, and he can give you a real inside view of what we've got going on here at Central Services.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
All right, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. I'll see you later, Paul. Hey, Tom, what you got going on over here?
Hey, Katie. I'm working on this hydraulic thing. If you're going to be over here, I want you to wear these glasses. I don't want no hydraulic fluid squirting in your eyes.
Yeah, sure thing. I'd love to learn more about what you're working on.
We're taking this hydraulic seal out because it's leaking, and we can't have it squirting all over the grass in the golf course.
Well, maybe I can learn something about mowers today if you want to show me what you're doing.
All right. Yeah, I'm taking this seal cap off because there's a seal underneath here that we got to get out that's broke. There's a little washer on top here that we got to get off, and it can be funny at times. And that's what it looks like. And it's got grease all over
my
it.
sleeves for this one.
It's got oil all over. You don't need to touch it, but it's got oil all over it. And that's why we can't have oil all over it. That's what we're doing. We're trying to stop it from having oil coming out of here. And here's one that's broke. See it? It's broke.
Yeah.
And there's still more down inside here that we got to get out. That's why I got this special pick tool, and it picks it out piece at a time. And once we get it all out, we'll replace it with a new part. Sometimes they come out easy, and most times they come out hard.
So I met Jason over at McNeely Lake, and I was telling him, you know, this is a lot different from my office job. You guys are really hands-on out here, fixing stuff and doing all the stuff behind the scenes for our parks.
Well, what we try to do is we try to save the city money. You know, by replacing the parts. Instead of replacing the whole thing, we'll replace something that's broke down inside. And it just saves the city so much money by us doing that. And this is the part that we're replacing. This is the new part. I enjoy doing my work. I enjoy coming here every day. It's a challenge each day. Something's different. Each day it's always something that either you're working on a chainsaw or a weed eater, various things that come through that door each day.
Well, I'll let you get back to work. Is there anything else going on here at the shop?
There's always something going on here, but I can introduce you to Steve.
Okay, I'd love that.
Well, Katie, here's Steve, and he can show you more.
Well, Steve, what do you have going over here? It amazes me all the different things you guys can do in this shop.
We got a steel leaf blower that come in from the districts, came in for non-running, and the carburetor turned out to be faulty on it. Every day is something totally different. You never know what you're going to be working on. Anything from a small blower to a big, large piece of equipment.
So how long have you been working with parks?
18 years, going on 19.
Years. Wow. Have you been here at Central Services all those
The whole
18
time.
years? So you must have learned a lot while you've been here.
It's exciting to see a piece of equipment come in that's not running, and you can make it run, and they can get what they need out of it. I've already got the old carburetor off right here, and I'm just going to show you one of the reasons that it failed is because internally, this primer bulb, when you push this would fill up with gas.
Okay.
That's what's going to give you your initial start. This one failed. This is the new carburetor. This hose right here, you definitely want to hook this one on first. And when that's on, this carburetor would slide right here on these two. Push all the way back. This top hose right here goes directly on that top. Here comes the tricky part.
Yeah.
This is where the whole mechanism hooks up. But with that, your trigger's all hooked up correctly. Then we got this one little gasket right here. That goes on. Then comes your air filter housing.
Hey, maybe I can
Right
do this
there.
part. You can't say I never did
I
anything
know,
for you.
Now comes this nice little cover that goes on right here. There you go, perfect.
I should come out to the shop more often.
Perfect.
Alrighty.
Spark plug goes on.
Yeah.
Push that and see if it fills up.
Yep, I see it coming through.
There you go.
Should we give her a go?
Alrighty, let's do it. Put her on choke.
That was pretty satisfying, wasn't it? Well,
Yes, it
Steve,
is.
thank you so much for showing me all this.
Absolutely, no problem. There's one more person you need to talk to.
Oh, yeah?
That's Bo, our good old tire guy. Hey, Bo, I got somebody I want you to meet, Katie.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Same.
Like a lot of things in the shop, I don't know much about fixing tires, but that's why you're the expert, so I'd love to learn more.
Well, I'll be glad to show you. It's pretty simple. Of course, obviously you can see, ain't much left on that one, so we're gonna go ahead and get her changed out with a new one.
Okay.
So it's pretty simple and straightforward. First thing you wanna do is you wanna pull the valve stem core out. Throw that guy up there. Throw our bead breaker on there. And you gotta do both sides of it. Now that you got both sides broke free, you want to get this little hook right here underneath the bead. Then you got that second one you got to get to. And then there you go.
You know, it just amazes me how easy you guys make everything look.
It wasn't that way when I first started.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit, then you get used to everything. So now we're gonna get our new one on here. Throw a little bit of soap on there. Then you want to get both sides of it. Installation is just opposite of removal.
Wow.
Just like that.
Yeah. I know you guys are all part of the snow team too.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of the snowplow trucks outside, out back right now. Actually, if you want to go take a look at them.
Yeah, I'd love to. Sounds awesome.
Awesome.
It's kind of chilly out here. So what are we coming up on?
So back here is where we're gonna keep all of our snow equipment, plows, trucks, hoppers, you name it.
About how many trucks do we have for moving snow around?
We usually have around 7 large trucks like this, or we have 7 small trucks, you name it.
Yeah, this is a huge truck.
Yeah, she's just a little big.
Yeah, this sure is a heavy piece of machinery. So what are we looking at here? This is the plow that moves the snow around?
Yeah, this is what we're gonna use to push all the snow around. It does look pretty big and obnoxious and everything, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a bunch of hoses, nuts and bolts and cylinders.
So you control this from inside the truck?
Yeah, there's 2 joysticks inside the cab, and that's gonna give you your left, right, and up and down. But again, as far as the plow, it's not much to it.
So can you talk more about what powers all this? It seems like there's so much going on over here.
Like I said, pretty simple. Right here, there's a hydraulic pump that runs off of the engine, and every time the engine is delivering power, you got hydraulic pressure, which is what's gonna give you your left, right, and up and down. But as far as other parts and stuff goes, like I said, it's pretty simple, but the only thing major is this dampener right here. Inside there's a spring, so if you come across any obstacles on the road, any elevations, that dampener will cause it to where the plow will tip and not send all that force back into the cab, so you're not just getting shook around.
Okay, and speaking of the cab, I bet you've spent a lot of hours in there.
There's been a few long nights, yeah. Again, pretty self-explanatory in there too, so I mean, if you want to, we can go take a look if you like.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
Awesome.
I feel so high up compared to everybody else.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool seeing the roofs of cars instead of just looking right eye level with them.
What's it like being on call all the time in the winter? I mean, you can't really predict when it's gonna snow way out. So do you sometimes just have to drop everything and work through the night?
That's pretty much how it goes. I mean, it gets a little hectic sometimes when it comes to, leaving your families and stuff like that, but, it is what it is. We got to keep the roads clean and keep people safe.
Yeah, so is it rewarding to know that you're making a difference for so many people?
For me, yeah, I'd say so.
So can you tell me more about the snow team? I know you're part of the snow team, but we also work with Public Works.
So, as far as the snow team it goes, I mean, we've got, us, Metro Parks, you got the road division of Public Works, sanitation, a bunch of little small organizations that pair in there with us, but I mean, it's pretty much just what you see is what you get.
Do you guys meet at the beginning of the season, or how do you know where you're assigned to go?
So what they do is they give us printed out route sheets. They usually stay the same all throughout the years, but there's a couple changes of additional roads and stuff. But everything is categorized between Metro Parks, roads, sanitations, so what have you. So we'll know pretty much what we've got to do. And once you do it once or twice, I mean, it's pretty well familiarized with it. It's just up, down, up, down. So
can you tell me more about the routes that you guys cover? Obviously, you don't have to name every single one because there's a lot, but are they owned by the city? Is that how it's decided what you guys cover?
Yeah, pretty much what they do is they go off of, I'm assuming, who's closest to which street. And what they'll do is they'll divvy everything up, and our routes in particular can span all the way as far out from Dixie Highway to right here, Poplar Level, Newburgh, around those areas. So some of them are pretty close to each other, so we'll have to pair up on some routes. So you'll have some where you'll do one route here, and as soon as you're done, you'll just bump right to the next one.
It sounds like a pretty efficient process, and I mean, I know I noticed going to work in the morning if there's a light snow where you can get on the road. So we definitely appreciate all the work that you guys do.
Oh yeah, and it's just like any other job that you get. It's pretty rewarding whenever you get to see what you're doing. So,
can you talk about some of the mechanics of all of this? Obviously, we saw the plow at the front of the truck, but you guys put salt on the roads too, right?
Yeah, so right here, this little unit that's going to be right here, this is going to be what's known as the Dicky John, and this is going to allow you to throw salt on the ground. So right here, this dial right here is going to be for your spread width. That's how far the salt is going to be thrown. And then this right here is your blast button, and that blast button is going to make everything wide open, so whenever you're doing bridges and overpasses, you can get a full coverage without having to take up too much lane. The overall goal is you want to have a certain amount of grains of salt by a 1x1 square, and that's what all of this is going to configure to.
Okay. How long did it take you to get to learn all of this? Did you have to go through any special training or anything to drive a big truck like this?
This is a CDL required vehicle. So obviously you have to go through, CDL training, and then you have to get your license. But as far as the snow aspect of it goes, it's just buttons and dials. It's once you get in there and fiddle with it for a little bit in the parking lot and you get a little bit familiarized with it, it's not too hard to get her down the road safely.
How many people does Parks and Recreation have on the snow team, roughly?
We've got an A crew and a B crew. Typically, you'll start with a night shift, and it just all depends on how many people we have. There has been some times where we've had more trucks than people, so this is the end of the route.
Well, do you have any safety tips for people whenever it snows? Obviously, a good rule of thumb is if there's snow on the road, you probably want to stay off of them, but for the people that might have to travel while you guys are out at the same time.
One of the biggest things that we try to stress to the community is basically if you see this big truck, just try to stay away, give us enough distance so that way we don't have any issues like that. And of course with this truck, especially depending on what we're doing, if we're plowing, salting, what have you, there is going to be salt being thrown from the vehicle. So like I said, just give us a little bit of space.
Do you think it's kind of fun operating a truck like this?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I feel like a kid reliving my dreams. That's one of the cool things too, like whenever you're driving through a subdivision, because we do have a couple subdivision routes, whenever there's kids out there building snowmen or having snowball fights, they'll see this truck ride by and they'll just freak out.
Yeah. To me, I feel like we're just gonna hit everything.
Oh yeah.
But you must have a good eye for it.
And the thing is too, it kind of just boils back down to once you've done it for a little bit, you kind of get used to everything about what your distances are and how much you got.
And we're back, safe and sound. Thank you so much for showing me the ropes a little bit. This was awesome.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. Thank you for coming out.
I don't think I've ever been in a truck this big before.
That's not too bad though, is it?
No, it wasn't bad at all. Well, I hope you had a great time meeting some of the many people that make a big difference in our park system. Be sure to keep up with all things Louisville Parks and Recreation on our social media platforms and on bestparksever.com. We'll see you next time on Park It Here.